Hi everybody. Back again today. I wanted to show you my new 100 things. This is a little journal that I made to take on vacation. I went on vacation last week to see my son where he works in the amazing state of Montana. I have never gone to Montana to vacation. We always go to Southern California, to San Diego or La Jolla. And when the kids were young, to Disneyland. And so this is my journal, and I love it. I love to make these. So it's just envelopes, you can see that. And I sewed it together with baker's twine. And I used washi tape to cover up the return address. And a lot of times what I do when I make these is I make a cover to go over them. I need to glue some of these the flaps down, but I didn't have time to do it before I left. And sometimes I don't even put a cover on. I decorate the outside to be the cover. But in this case, I'm going to have to put a cover on it because I got really anxious on the airplane and decided to make my first piece of art. And what I took with me is I took a ribbon, of course, to tie the journal together, and that's my washi tape. And I took my Derwent water brush pen number 1, full of water, of course, and I had this little Pilot G2 pen and my kids' watercolors, and they are a tight fit in this little bag. So I'm gonna, when I can, I'm gonna make a decision to go and buy one of those smaller cases of watercolors. I know that Jane Davenport has one that's smaller. I really like these watercolors. They're just kids' watercolors, so I don't mind them at all. But really and truly, excuse me, this little envelope journal, honestly, if you don't get it very wet and just using the watercolor pen, water brush pen, I don't squirt these wet. If I want to get some color out, I use the water brush pen, and then I just went over the lower half with kind of a mixture of the blue-green. I mixed blue with green up here, and you know, real loose. I was right by the plane, the window of the airplane, and so it was easy. I had light, I had lots of light, and then I made the mountains with the purple. This one, I mixed a little blue in with it, and I think I mixed a little white in, I did, for the sky. And this was, this didn't take very long at all. I didn't labor. This was not labor intensive. I didn't labor over this at all because I was a little bit embarrassed. It was the first time I ever did art in public, which the person sitting next to me was extremely curious, and that made me even more nervous. So I kind of hunkered down over the top of it. And on the mountains I made little trees, itty bitty, because up there they have evergreens. And I dotted the shoreline there at that Flathead lake. It was just covered. I could, if I had been a little braver, I would have brought back a bag of rocks. River rock. I love it. Love, love, love it. I did bring one back in a little sculpture that I made, and I did post that. But if you want to see it here, I'll post it. I'll show it here on a video too. So then I just went over the rocks with my pen, my G2 pen. And I used green and red to make brown right here. If you can see that. Right here is the brown. And I painted the sailboat. We went out on a sailboat one day. And I dotted the rocks in with brown as well. And the sun. Then the sun. This is actually yellow. It looks a bit orange because of the red, but when I used it, it actually came out yellow. So that was perfect. I just made the sun coming down with the sunset, and I did my best. You know, I'm not really an artist, and I'm certainly not a watercolorist. But I'm really pleased with how this turned out. I really like it. It was from a memory in my head, and then after I'll show you. Then after I was done, I got out my phone and looked up the picture, and it wasn't far off. And the man sitting next to me said it was beautiful. So my day was complete. It was wonderful then. And that was on 2 days ago when I came back. So there you go. So this is my little 100 things. I love to make these little envelope journals. I already put this one together. Actually, I think I did this before I left, so that I could have this 100 things be ready for it when I came back. And I'm not going to make it right now, but I thought that I would show you. I absolutely do use envelopes. They're just old envelopes that come to me for free in the mail. I don't buy anything. You'll notice that a lot of stuff I do on my channel is freebie stuff that I don't have to buy. I call it free papers that come in the mailbox because I raid my mailbox for paper and for envelopes. And if I rip open, some are just the business part of the envelope where you need to reply by mail. And those don't tear at all because they've never even been sealed. I can just seal them. And then some are those that have been delivered to me, and they are, I can just, I don't know, sometimes they work. Sometimes I just glue them down again. And some come a little bit tattered. These just happen to turn out nicely. So, maybe I'll just tear this itty bitty part. Don Calvin of Let's Make a Mess Today YouTube channel leaves the tattered and torn part alone, and normally I do too. But this one just turned out to have a lot of envelopes in it that were like business envelopes and hardly torn. So there's that one. Same thing here. It hardly tore. I don't know, I just got lucky. Partly because it wasn't really sealed. That would be why. So I put the flaps on the top, And that way, if I want to, I can make pockets, and yet I don't have to. So there we go. Now I clamp it together, and I'll come back after I've done this part, because I take it out to the garage and I whack it really good with a hammer and a nail. But first I clip it all together so that it won't move, so that all the holes go straight through. And I just clip it together as good as I can, and I'll go out there during the daylight. I don't want to wake the neighbors and cause them to come running over. You can do either a 2 or 3 binding stitch, and I usually do a 3, so it goes up like that, and then it goes right about here, and I make sure and get them on the fold. And at this point now I take it out to the garage and I put a giant nail, a huge nail, and I put it on the workbench where there's wood underneath, and I take a hammer and wham, wham, wham. Then I turn it over, same place, wham, 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 and it'll show, because that way you make sure and get it on the same edge. And this is how I do each hole, and then I sew it together with my twine or embroidery lace or whatever I'm choosing at that point. And there's nothing as satisfying as making a book. I love it. So when I come back, it'll be the 100 things for this journal, and I'll show some other journals that I've made out of envelopes and just little papers at another time. So I just wanted to show you my art, because I actually do really love my own art this time. Sometimes I don't. Thank you for watching. Thank you for thumbs up, and thank you for your sweet comments. I really appreciate it. Bye-bye.